the most decorated clubs in English football. It is always a big deal when these... And Garnacho! That is off the very high...
Stream all 380 matches for just 90 kwacha on Showmax Premier League. Visit showmax.com to get started.
And action. Welcome to it. Another exciting episode.
It's so funny because when Gob claps his hands.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of feel like a puppet. You know how...
Right, like you get into character now.
Yeah, like, all right, you little minions. Start dancing.
Forget about who you were. Let's pretend to be somebody else now.
No, kind of like, you know how like when a master, like when he snaps his fingers, I was like, all right, entertain me.
Or a hypnotist.
You little minions.
Another exciting episode coming up on that Z podcast. And we did mention earlier that we'll be having Showmax on the podcast going forward. And we did mention as well,
Showmax
we're wise enough to mention that we know very little about soccer, let alone the Premier League.
No, we were honest.
We're honest enough. That's what I'm saying. We're wise enough to mention that way in advance. So
we've been honest, and that's what you get on this here podcast is honesty.
Exactly. Now, speaking of somebody who knows more about soccer than we do, we've brought in a professional, way more informed about soccer in the Premier League, which we'll be talking about.
Oh, we know that the ball is round.
That's it, and that the pitch is rectangle.
The what now?
The pitch.
Oh, right.
It's called a pitch.
I heard something else.
Right. Now, here's a man who...
Why are you yelling, Kalinga?
I am excited, bro. Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Do you know what this thing does?
Excuse me.
Wait,
excuse
Kalinga,
me.
do you know
Can I express my excitement the way I express my excitement?
But do you know what?
Thank you, Elson.
In fact, I need Chilu Lemba.
I'm turning this guy's mic off.
I need Chilu Lemba to explain to you how this thing works.
I am turning this guy's mic off.
I need him to. You don't need to yell, Kalinga.
This is how I express my excitement. Allow me.
You'll get your period one of these days. You'll get your period, I promise.
Before I was rudely interrupted by this fool, I was saying that I've heard this man's voice on radio for so many years. And in my head, you know how... What do you call that thing again?
You build kind of like how you think he looks.
I thought he was like an 18-year-old.
Wow.
Slim, tall guy.
This man was at reception.
And I bypassed him.
I spoke to him on the phone and he saw you and he knew you.
I didn't know him.
You didn't bypass him, you passed him.
This is Punch from Radio Phoenix. And you probably hear him on radio. Are you on every show or just a breakfast show?
All throughout the day. Yeah.
Every show you come to give sports updates.
That's how big you are. Every single show wants you.
Wow.
You know how like on other radio stations, each show has their own sports person? Not him.
They have him.
Every show.
He is everyone's sports person. So this is Punch from Radio Phoenix. You probably hear him when you're driving around the streets of Lusaka, listening to 89.5 FM. He's here in the flesh, and I'm sure for many of you, it's the first time you're seeing this face as well. And
you'll be seeing this face for quite a bit to come.
Yes. So he's the man who's going to be breaking it down like a fraction, what we need to know about the Premier League and what's happening in the Premier League. Like right now, remember we spoke about Showmax earlier. Showmax has the Premier League now, but only on the phone. And you can download Showmax on www.showmax.com.
You look at the plans.
Because of the plans, pick a plan.
90 kwacha plan
is where the Premier League is.
Say that again.
www.showmax.com.
In Bamba this time.
Pick a plan. Pay for the plan.
That's English.
Start watching.
That's English.
Yeah, I'll translate at the end. Sir.
You can't say it in Bamba, can you?
I'm rehearsing right now. Sir, welcome.
Thank you.
What's happening in the Premier League? What should we know right now? And what should we look out for on Showmax with the Premier League?
There's a lot of huge developments. Remember that the international break was on, and now we're back with a lot of exciting action which has already taken place. But some developments behind the scenes, obviously, that a lot of fans were looking forward to. Arsenal, they finally got their coach, Mikel Arteta, to sign a 3-year deal, a new extended contract. It's going to keep him at the club till...
Mikel.
Oh,
okay.
Mikel Arteta.
I thought I heard Michelle. Did you hear Michelle?
No.
Sorry.
To 2027. So this is special because remember that he came through in 2019 at this Arsenal squad, which was previously under Unai Emery. A lot of people thought that he's young. Remember that he was at Manchester City as the assistant. Is he going to do anything? But he proved people wrong. He won the FA Cup, and last season they finished second. They have been challenging now for the top four consistently, and them giving him a new contract. They're looking towards winning the Premier League for the first time in over 15 years. So I think...
Oh, Arsenal?
Yeah, Arsenal.
Sorry to cut you off. Did you see that news came out that combined in his social media, he's got over 1 billion followers now?
Yeah, so he opened up a YouTube
channel which went to 1 million in minutes.
So it shows the
brand that he is, man.
The brand that he is, particularly the social media influence that these footballers have today. They've got such huge influence. And then also Cristiano Ronaldo made these comments on Rio Ferdinand's podcast. So it also shows that players have gravitated, or former players. Remember that back in the day, football players, they would be in front of the media, but after that, it's done. They would go home, and they wouldn't talk so much about the game. But now that culture is changing. Those footballers who probably retired like 10 to 12, 15 years ago, they're starting podcasts, and Rio Ferdinand is one of them. So Cristiano,
podcast?
Yeah, he's got a podcast. Very good. Well. The scores, sometimes they combine, they do a podcast together. The Premier League has even got in and helped some of these guys build their brand.
They've probably been watching our podcast. That's where they got the idea from.
Yeah. So it has grown this big. So Cristiano Ronaldo made that comment, which has not gone down so well with Erik ten Hag. So he told Cristiano Ronaldo, he said that, he's making comments all the way in Saudi Arabia. We're here.
Saudi Arabia had to catch strays. You know what I mean? Hey, so the next, I don't know, 10, 12 or however many weeks, what should we look forward to? Do you have surprises that you think some teams might have up their sleeves? Because I know people are gonna rewind back to this episode. So do you have any predictions of what you think might happen?
Yeah, I think people should watch out for Brighton. Remember that Brighton has got a lot of Zambians are affectionate towards Brighton because our player, that's Enoch Mwepu, was there. He's retired now after that medical issue.
My landlord.
Yeah. Is he your landlord?
He's my landlord, yeah.
So Enoch
and he's
Mwepu,
half his age.
Imagine that.
but that's what the Premier League does. That's what some of these top leagues do. They elevate you. If you manage to go there and play, they elevate you. So Enoch Mwepu was there at Brighton, and a lot of Zambians are affectionate love Brighton because of that. So we're looking out to see what exactly they're doing. Enoch Mwepu is still there as well. Remember that he's teaching the junior coach. So we should keep our eyes, because some of these players who will be emerging out of this Brighton side over the next 2, 3, 4 years are going to be because of Enoch Mwepu and the technical bench who are molding them up. So I'm keeping a close eye on Brighton, and they're doing very well currently. We should keep our eyes out. Another big talking point is the return of, in the next 12 weeks, the return of Patson Daka. Remember that pre-season, his coach at Leicester said that Patson Daka is injured and is going to be ruled out for 2 months. So we are passing into the first month. We'll slowly be entering into the second month, and most likely he'll be getting back into a position whereby he can get into the Leicester City side. And that is going to be exciting. Like, we want to see our Zambian lad scoring goals in the Premier League to prove a point that us as well, we're a huge country.
Nice, man. So look out for more of this, and also predictions. We'll be having, and that's happening on the on Showmax.
Why are you stuttering?
I was trying to remember if he was going to be on Showmax as well. But that's happening on Showmax, where the usual things that you're accustomed to when it comes to the Premier League, predictions, analyses, talk shows. All of these things are going to be happening on the Premier League on Showmax. Remember, it's www.showmax.com.
I'm still waiting
Pick
for
a
the
plan.
translation.
It'll be coming later. Pick a plan, pay for the plan, and start enjoying Showmax. Remember, the plan is only 90 kwacha for the pack. What do you call it? The plan that has the Premier League. And remember, you will not have this available on your TV. This is strictly on your mobile devices.
Don't come here complaining, because we've been telling you this.
Told you.
And this is why I'm telling you to tell people in Bemba. Nyanja. Say it.
Showmax, you can't tell me from my phone. Pama Lamia.
Pama Lamia. Is it, wait, what?
Lamia is the phone. Yeah.
Wait, so you had to say it in Bemba. What, do Bemba speaking people only have lamias? Why didn't you say that in English? Saying that this is available on Lamia. Why didn't you say a phone?
So ikala sanga fe palamia. Mwa pa website www.showmax.com. Mwa pikin a plan mrefu club onfia. Mwa Premier League 90 kwa chide. Mwa shizinga ida plan ida mwa tininka po pa mwa manok tamba Showmax. Palamia. Easy as that. Yeah.
Look, if I was Bemba speaking, I would be offended. Because then you're saying if you understand Bemba, you use a Lamia phone.
Anyway, that's it for Showmax. Chilu Lemba coming up. Put your lovely hands together.
Dun 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 dun.
Okay, so now you know where to start this episode. Play with me if you want to.
You guys are probably going to start it where it started initially.
Oh my God, man.
This is funny. What was I saying? Yeah, I was saying another exciting episode brought to you by Brothers Mocktails and of course produced by BigTree Beverages. And we have 4 exciting flavors: strawberry lime crisp, pina colada, mojito, and one of my personal favorites, the Cosmo.
Cosmo is your favorite? That was the pina colada.
Changes. I did say 2 episodes ago that my favorite changes depending on what I'm working with.
Mine has been pina colada the entire time.
Serious. Yeah. Strawberry lime crisp was for a bit, but I'm now with Cosmo.
Okay.
And the man we have today, first we have to start by giving him his flowers. He's a man who...
The myth.
The man, the myth, the legend. This man is more everywhere you go than MTN. Oh. You can't avoid it. You may not know his face, but one thing that's guaranteed is you've heard his voice before, whether you like it or not. Be it ZNBC, be it DStv, you have heard his voice before.
I called Mkuka on my way here.
Yeah.
And I told him that this man was going to be on the podcast. And he says, you've done some voiceovers for him. Mkuka from
the whole of
Multichoice.
DStv, bro.
Yeah.
Finish off with the introduction.
As I was saying, he's won awards not only in Zambia, not only in South Africa where he lives right now,
In America.
not only in Africa, around the world, globally.
Around the world, aye.
This man is no other than, and I want to mention the full name because very few people know.
What, you've run out
see, man.
of the titles and the accolades?
We're coming back to that.
No, we're not. Let's just finish off. He's a father.
He's a father of 2 girls.
Yeah, you guys know your stuff.
Left Zambia, 25 plus years ago,
Yeah.
but still very Zambian.
Yeah.
Your passport still says Zambia?
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chilu Lemba.
Chilu.
How often do you hear that one?
What's interesting is...
Sorry, Chilu Lemba for those who before I confuse people.
Born Chilungu, so he is right. So at school, when I was at primary school, that was the name used. So usually Chilungu, yeah. So when I hear people say Chilungu, I go, Livingston. Most times. And then the guys who read the book as well. So I've got a couple of people now who call me Chilungu. But yeah, that's the original name. But on the passport now, on official documents, it's just Chilu.
Born in Livingston?
Yeah.
Born in Livingston?
No, born in Lusaka.
Okay, so where was the Livingston reference?
Livingston, school? Yeah, I was at primary school in Livingston from 5th grade to grade 8. And then left for boarding school.
Why Livingston though?
Livingston was a vibrant town. So my dad used to run a car assembly plant there called Livingston Motor Assemblies from, I think, 1980 until it kind of collapsed-ish. So that should have been like early 90s. But yeah, they used to manufacture cars in Livingston. Assemble cars.
What cars were those?
Fiat cars, and then later on it was Peugeots. Yeah.
Land Rovers were in Chipata, right?
Wait, hold on. You said
Chipata was the
bicycles. Sorry, bicycles.
Wait, you said Fiat? Which other one?
Fiat and Peugeot.
And Peugeot.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wait, Fiat is
Italian.
Italian, right?
Yeah.
And
Peugeot
Peugeot
is
is French.
Peugeot is French, I think. Yeah.
it
Peugeot
is.
French, yeah.
Wait, so this is incredible. What markets would these cars go to? Do you know?
To the local market. So
especially the
here's a
504,
bit
yeah.
of background, because I was thinking about it the past couple of years in terms of context.
Yeah.
During the, say, 1990s or so, that was before South Africa became independent. So because of sanctions and those kind of things, the car manufacturers, say Fiat and Peugeot, if they were looking to service the African markets, they couldn't produce the stuff in South Africa because of the sanctions and stuff. And I think that coincided. If you look at the collapse of companies such as Livingston Motor Assemblies, that happened close to when South Africa was becoming independent, because sanctions lifted. They're closer to harbors and ports, and they're logistically a better place from an economic standpoint as well.
Yeah.
To have those plants there.
Yeah.
So I think that's why we lost out on,
And what did your father do there?
He was the general manager. So he was the general manager for about 10 years. It was an interesting, you read the book. I
read the book.
So I do describe sometimes when we'd be at home and he'd be in Italy, when there was like almost the launch of a new version of Fiat. So like when for example, when the Fiat Chroma was about to be released, he'd have to go there and, they broker the deal or whatever it is, come back with like those little miniature cars, as kids would play and smash them up. But, they come with the little models, and then the cars would start being manufactured. So at, I think, age 8, 9, we used to go to the plant and see the assembly, of the cars happening there. And I went back to the spot about in December in Livingston. And it's a shell.
So nothing's happening there.
Well, there's like a timber sawmill type vibe going there, but otherwise, it's you actually, it feels like a ghost place, like if you go to, I was going to compare it to a spot in Germany, but then, I do not want to get in trouble. Yeah, or something, but no, that's Russia.
That's Russia.
That's Russia. Yeah, it's not Germany, but then I figured
I was
ghost.
going to go, Sobibor,
It's a little dark, but okay.
Yeah, I know. But it feels like those activity there, and then now there's nil. Glasses and windows of offices broken, that kind of vibe. So,
Very abandoned kind of place. So I think the habit of changing names just runs in the family, yeah? Because your father was born something else, then he changed his name to Winter Duke, which is like a Don kind of name.
Yeah. So he was actually the first Chilungu, my late dad. And then I think at some point, maybe he didn't like the name. I don't know the full story, but, he became Winter Duke Lemba. And then with my situation, I was known as Chilungu at school, but at home I was Chilu. So at some point, when I went to secondary school, the headmaster at the boarding school, during the interview or during the discussion, my dad kept referring to me as Chilu. So then he says, so who's Chilu? Then he says, him. But we got Chilungu on the paper. Then my dad says, yeah, we call him Chilu. And the guy says, okay, we'll call him Chilu too. Then he scratched out the last 3 letters. Wow. And so, from then secondary school, I was Chilu. And I went to get my NRC with my late dad. He asked me so Chilungu? I'm like, no, Chilu. So it became official, I think, when I was 16. Yeah.
So safe to say you grew up fairly comfortable.
In a sense, that whole rich dad, poor dad story. Not, in my situation, my parents split when I was 4 or 5 or whatever it was. My dad remarried. So consequently, what happened is when I was living with him, he had a good life. And so, my mother, on the other hand, wasn't as set financially. She was working at the National Provident Fund. Early on, before she started getting promotions, she was a secretary, So when I was staying with my mother, grade 2, grade 3, our means were quite slim, But then when staying with my dad, it was an opposite situation. So it was, a juxtaposition, I suppose.
You should hear the story.
So soft life is half.
Yeah, for him it was. You should hear the story of how his dad ended up with his mom, whose name is Irene.
Yeah.
And I think you should share the story. How your dad met a chick who lied about the name.
Guys should read the book. I shouldn't ruffle feathers, but long story short, it's I think he was probably probably early 20s, macking on somebody whose name was Irene, and then she
Very
told
white
him
name that.
Yeah. So she told him she was at Evelyn Hone College. And so he showed up there, but that person obviously wasn't the real name, didn't exist. So he told him, no, there's an Irene at this place, So he kept thinking, that was the person that he had met. Then he went to the room where my mother was, knocking on the door, whatnot. She was not feeling well apparently, so she didn't want to open. He thought she was playing hard to get. Opens, he realizes that, it's not the person that he thought he was looking for. But then, yeah, I think his macking game was strong. So he pursued,
Scoop that,
and then, they got married.
So what was her real name?
No, my mother's name was Irene.
So the thing is, the dad met a chick, like in a club, right?
Yeah, whose name
Who lied?
Cecilia.
Who lied that her name was Irene?
Tamara.
Right,
or whatever.
right,
but to
right.
throw him off,
So she
said, "My name
lies
is
saying
Irene."
her name is Irene and I'm
So
a
your
Evelyn
dad
Hone.
then goes and looks for an Irene.
Yes.
At Evelyn Hone because
And they direct him to an Irene, but it's not the same Irene.
Yes.
And then runs in. Oh,
Yes,
snap.
yes.
And then he
Talk
falls in
about-
love with this Irene now. You know what I
and
mean?
that's how we were born.
That's
That's our
That's an
genesis.
incredible story.
Yeah, that's the story I've been told, man. So it's fascinating.
Wow. Well, there's another way to look at it. To say, hey, listen, if you're not the Irene that I'm looking for, you are an Irene. So I've always wanted an Irene. So you'd have to do.
But then,
Wait, so here's what I want to find out. Sorry.
Yeah.
all right,
No problem. Keep a pin on that. Your dad is comfortable. He's separated from your mom, and he remarries, and your mom is not doing as well. How much of you, either number one, A, despises your dad, or B, feels like it was your dad's responsibility to also make sure that mom is comfortable? Because for you to draw a comparison where dad has all that he does and mom doesn't, and you're the one person who has to go back and forth.
Yeah.
How much do you look at your dad to say, if you really loved this person, why are you comfortable?
I think a lot of this stuff, in hindsight, when you grow older, you start understanding context better. So, Elton, I mean, at the time, I was like, what? I was a kid. I didn't actually contextualize things in that way. It was just, when you with your dad, you're excited because all of a sudden now, their cars, their drivers, their trips to South Ruangwa National Park during holidays.
There's a big white
and
house.
whatnot. I'm there. There's a big white house and all these things. Then when you're with your mom, you're struggling, but you don't actually, pin blame or anything on like in my respect, I didn't pin it on my dad because all this time I thought he was my hero. You know what I mean? So when you grow up, you realize that there's a lot of things because, when we grow up, we face similar things in life and you can kind of look with context and say, even though that was the situation, these guys were in their 20s at the time. You know what I mean? And I think to myself, when I was 20, I might not have been thinking the way I think now when I'm a year away from 50. I maybe have a bit more grace in terms of when I reflect on the situation. And also the reason why eventually we were moved to, Livingston to be with my dad, in my case and my brother's case is because of what you've just said. The fact that there was the thinking that a better life could be provided if we were under his care, and so that's kind of what happened. And, the company, the one I spoke about earlier, they subsidized the school fees as well. Okay. So under his care, I think, that also helped in terms of elevating our education and, stuff like that. Yeah.
How's your relationship with your stepmom?
It's probably not as wonderful as it could be. But again, it's context, because when you're growing up, you're kind of seeing things, but not joining the dots. Even, and this is the weird thing about life, because even in the past 2 years or so, because obviously you reflect on things, you could have a certain attitude, but then if you put yourself in the person's shoes, whoever it is, in this case, you're asking about, my stepmom, she is in a situation now, where she's raising her own children with my dad, plus us, so she's got a point of view which I wouldn't understand, especially at that age. When I grow up now, I'm like, there's certain things which I would have thought were cruel or maybe were wrong. But when I look back now, I'm thinking like, but what if I was in that situation, because you're young, you're not sure how to handle these things. You're dealing with what you've got at the time. So, I think the relationship has had its, bright sides and dark sides. And in hindsight, I think, I think it could have been better if things were dealt with in certain ways. But you know, life's not over. We still have time to.
She's still around?
Yeah.
And your mom?
No, my mom passed away. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like how you refer to your stepmom in the book just by her first name.
Yeah. Did I?
Yeah, just Kumbo.
Oh, Anakumbo. Did I?
No, just Kumbo.
No, Kumbo was my young brother.
Sorry, what's the stepmom's name again?
I don't want to put her on blast. Now she goes to the bank like, yo, we heard about you on that Z podcast. No, well, I call her mom still, you know.
Ah,
so,
sweet.
Yeah,
Man. That's
so,
sweet.
you know, that's the thing. Yeah. You're making me feel some type of way. I'm going to visit her tomorrow.
What's the title of your book?
It's called Finding My Voice.
Right.
Yeah.
I like how the title of the book sort of ties into the things that your mom, but this is like later in life, not in your earlier years. And we'll come to that. The time you get fired from Radio Phoenix. And the title of the book. I like how you mentioned, and I related so much to the tape that your mom gave you to listen to.
Oh, the pastor with
Mental Audible.
Yes,
I still listen to Mental Audible to this day because of my
Wow,
mom.
Yeah.
And funny thing about that tape, it was entitled, what was that again?
It was, I think
Discover Your Gifts
Purpose,
and Discover Your...
Gift. It was like a tape series.
Yes, Discover Your Gift and Discover Your Purpose. My mom gave me those tapes as well. In addition to
Really?
that, she gave me Miles Monroe, Why Men Need Visions and Dreams.
Yeah.
I felt like we had the same mom kind of thing. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. And you know what's funny is both those people that you mentioned. So this is you know, I don't want to seem like, you know, I'm holier than thou, you know, but Miles Monroe, in terms of his impact on me at some point in life. I mean, I was, you know, as you know, I was a rascal at some point. I was
were you?
Oh,
yeah.
you should read the book, bro.
What you see now is, I might still be a rascal, you know, but I was,
A
you
mild
know,
version.
Yeah. But when I kind of turned the leaf and started getting serious with life, this was like around 96, and I was emceeing government gigs, you know, vice president's wedding and whatnot. What I used to do is on a Saturday, Miles Monroe's show would come on TV, and I'd watch the you know, his show before going out to MC, because he'd just be like, almost like drill sergeant, like a coach in a sense. And then, later on in life, I got to see him in person. I was
Serious?
invited.
I'd have loved that
He was in
before he died,
Joburg
man.
for an event, and a friend of mine's wife was organizing it. So they called us there. And a few months later, you know, then
The crash happened, yeah.
Yeah, the crash happened and he died. Similar thing with, who talk about Mensa Audible.
Mental Audible, yeah.
I've seen him twice now.
I've seen him
in
once.
person. Yeah.
Yeah.
And these guys, it's, their minds are so, they expand, you know, what's in your head through their words. I mean, I remember, I think it was in the same tape series where Miles Monroe was saying, not Miles Monroe, Mensa Audible.
Yeah.
Was saying that he realizes that 3/4 of the people who listen to his messages don't see him. Similar to what happened with Punch, you know, and so he has to master the English language so that he's not reaching too hard for words that are descriptive and will make somebody who's not seeing him be at a disadvantage, because he's got enough vocabulary to paint pictures. And I was like, whoa, you know. So, yeah, these are, you know, powerful minds and powerful people who I think we're privileged to live in the same era as them.
And speaking of voices, and this is airing this Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
How crazy is it that we just got news that James Earl Jones just died?
Yeah.
Powerful voice. That
Man,
one, yeah.
and you know, you just begin to reflect on the characters that he played, right? And how much he achieved. You know, he was the voice, the CNN voice.
Yeah.
This is CNN.
Yeah.
I only just recently found this out.
You know, the story about that is that he apparently recorded that stuff, and then he forgot about it or whatever. Then CNN started airing it. Then his son called him and told him, "Hey, your voice is
on TV."
Yeah, so that's how they started now talking about the bag that was.
Also,
linked
they
to
didn't
that
pay
job.
him then.
They hadn't paid him as yet. I think, you know, sometimes these things short circuit in the system. So I remember hearing that story that it was his son who told him that, you know. Yeah.
And then the one he'll neither accept nor deny, the voice of Darth Vader.
Yeah, he was Darth Vader.
Yeah, Darth Vader.
Yeah, but remember in every interview you'd say, ask George Lucas that question, not me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he never
okay.
accepted nor denied that.
And what's the guy? Mufasa.
Mufasa, yeah.
Yeah, that
In
was
The Lion
iconic as
King.
well.
Yeah.
Have you ever voiced cartoon characters before?
No.
You was about to say but when we said Mufasa?
Oh, no. I was about to say, it's what's fascinating, right? Is that since James Earl Jones has passed, everyone has thrown those three references. So you realize, like, was he doing a lot of voice work? I mean, I'm speaking from a place of ignorance. I just don't know, outside of those 3 iconic, monumental roles. Oh, there we go. Yeah, please.
We'll find out.
Because I was speaking to somebody and they were saying that the voice acting world shouldn't be claiming him because he's in terms of his body of work, it's more on the acting side.
Yeah, true.
But I don't know, man.
And he was on stage.
Elson will give us the facts right now.
He was on stage a lot before,
Brilliant actor.
Before movies.
Brilliant.
Brilliant actor.
All right, here we go. So, Darth Vader,
Yeah.
Mufasa, the CNN tagline,
Yeah.
Verizon Wireless, NBC's Today Show, The American Experience, narrated a couple of documentaries like the Civil War, commercial voiceover for Coca-Cola, IBM, Bell, Atlantic, video games like Lego, Batman, and Star Wars as well.
Wow. So he was busy.
Yeah, he was a busy man.
Yeah. No, fantastic. But you're right, because what happens sometimes is if, like, our reference is radio, TV, movies. So some of the other stuff we might not know, like, for example, and this is like a random one. I was watching a TV show, one of these American TV shows. Voiceover came on. It was an ad for Honda.
Right.
The guy's style or the fabric of his voice, I didn't say it, but I thought like this has a similar, texture to what I do. And then my wife is passing and says, this guy sounds almost like, So then she wasn't looking. I'm like Googling, who's the Honda voice? Guess who it is? Who? John Cena.
No.
John Cena is like a voiceover artist when he's not. Yeah. Google John Cena's voiceover. I'm like, what?
No,
You can't see him. You can just hear him.
What I took from this is that John Cena sounds like you.
Exactly.
Well, so that's not where it was meant to go. But but it's when we do voiceover, nothing else in life.
So he's a voiceover artist as well.
Yeah, he's a voiceover artist. I think he's the official voice of, I think it's Honda.
So when you can't
In the
see
States,
him,
when,
he's
when,
busy in
when,
the
when you
booth.
see a Honda ad
Okay,
more
you
times
made
than
your
not,
point.
it's John Cena.
I'm enjoying it.
I mean, he's milking the whole you
I'm
can't
enjoying
see
it.
him thing.
Yeah. I'm enjoying it very much, yeah.
Maybe that's how that came about.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I moonlight as a voiceover artist. What's your tagline now? You can't see.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And I know still on this rabbit hole of voiceover artists is another really talented voiceover artist in one of my favorite animation. I don't know if I can call it that because people that love animation are always very antsy about what you call animation. Is Regina King.
Oh yeah. No, she's brilliant.
Boondocks.
Yeah.
She plays
She's brilliant.
Both kids in Boondocks.
both kids in the
yes,
Boondocks.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she really goes in with the, and it's fascinating because most people might not know that side of her.
Right.
But there's like some really, really talented people. There's, the lady that does the Bart Simpson character. So Bart Simpson's voice is done by a woman.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah. And she's been doing it for however long, but yeah, it's an old.
But Bart Simpson is the dad, right?
No,
No,
the
Bart
boy.
Simpson is the
Oh,
boy.
it's the boy. Is the boy.
Yeah,
Wait, what's the dad's name?
Homer.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the one that goes, dun, dun.
I think so.
Okay, we're getting a little too nerdy now.
We'll come back to the voiceover. I'd love to build it up to how you get into the voiceover business, but
Yeah.
I think there's more from your scandalous years as a youth.
Yeah.
Yes, he was. Read the book, bro. I'm trying to pick it up from, yes, you do primary school in Livingston, then you get to Chengelo, and you had to leave Chengelo at some point.
Yes.
And you to date, you still haven't gotten your grade 12 results, have you?
No.
Oh, you finally did.
No, I got no grade 12 results.
Well, why don't you get
You still don't have them.
Why?
No, I still-
Why? What's
not,
that?
Not even I still don't have it. I didn't write.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Why?
Because money ran out. So you were saying like soft life, at some point, we're now enrolled at Chengelo School in Kushi,
Which is bloody expensive.
which is very expensive. And then the subsidy from the company went off because my dad was no longer there. And he was doing his best, man, but we couldn't meet those fees. And so when I was in grade 11, looking forward to going into the final year, I was even like appointed a prefect. Everything seemed cool. I'm thinking, what? Leave us ball. I'm going to wear this. And
Money
then
ran out.
yeah, we didn't go back. So
Damn.
stayed in Lusaka at the farm. Dad, thought things were going to work out. And so we were expecting that, a plan would be made. But, no plan was made. It was tricky. And so yeah, I never did write the final year. But what had happened is at the school they had this policy where a year before they encouraged you to do 2 exams if you were capable. So they encouraged you to do English language and maths core. So English language, if you tuck those in with good grades, then the following year you do English literature and you do maths advanced. So I did those 2 and I got the highest grades that I could get for those. But, I never went back to write. And so years later, and I'm fast forwarding from your story, when I went to Joburg to enroll at the AAA School of Advertising, they quizzed me, when they accepted me, then they told me, we just need your grade 12 results. And I was just
about that.
I'll go back and get them. I'll go back and get them.
I kept telling them, no, I'll get them. The school is in rural Zambia. Whatnot. First year done. Second year done. Third year graduate, get the diploma, everything else. And, by that time, I think they'd forgotten. And then there was a loophole in a sense in the system in that you can get what's called a matric exemption certificate, which shows that now you've got something that supersedes the grade 12 thing. So based on the fact that now you've got a diploma, a high diploma, you apply to the Ministry of Education and then they give you that thing. So I don't have a grade 12 certificate, but I got a matric exemption certificate based on the fact that I exceeded the grade 12 thing. Yeah. So I think I can stand for MP. I don't know. Not that I'm gonna.
Like Trevor.
Exactly. What's up with these guys in South Africa? Not finishing grade 12.
This was purely okay. Yeah. Okay, no, I'm gonna watch that episode.
Yeah, you should. I'm still stuck on the Chengelo story.
Yeah.
Grade 11, you have to leave because you can't pay the school fees. You come back. I'm curious. Couldn't you go to another school in that year?
I could have. In fact,
something more affordable.
So this is the situation. Within that 1 year, we kind of thought a plan would be made, right?
Right.
And then it dawned on us later on that there was no plan to be made. By that time, I'm now interacting with rappers in Lusaka because that was my passion. You know what I mean? We're doing shows, we're, doing that kind of thing. Then the following year, my mom, because now I'm staying with my mom. At some point, I left Makeni, went to stay in Umanga. She was like, you need to do part-time stuff at Evelyn Hone College. So, she gave me bread to pay for but like I was saying, I was a rascal. I was on a different frequency mentally. Yeah. So I attended one class, second class, then the rest of the year I didn't, I just kind of was doing my own other things. And so at the end of the year, when those other things weren't working out, I still decided to go write the exam at Kabulonga, Boys. I think that was the exam center. Right. I remember going there. I think it was raining. My brother, I think I'd left my stationery. My brother came riding a bicycle.
With your stationery?
My older brother hooks me up with the stationery, whatnot. I think he can tell that story better. I wrote this exam. When I got the results for that thing, it was obvious. I failed like dismally. I never showed my mom because it's going to break her heart. But I never attended class, not even once.
Wow.
Well, apart from the 2. So yeah, man, I got rid of that that piece of paper real quick. Yeah.
And then in the same time period, you did something that you describe in the book as quite stupid.
I did a lot of stupid things. I don't know which one this one is.
So you know what he does? He's not able to afford to get back to Chengelo for grade 12, but he goes to visit the school.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that story so much in the book.
Yeah, so he goes to visit the school.
So this is a border. So I don't know if you know Chengelo. Chengelo is in Mukushi. Right? So it's deep in the 5-hour drive or so.
Yeah.
It's volunteers. It's for all intents and purposes, it's a rich school, I'd say.
Still?
They've just bought, they've just bought I follow them on Instagram. They just bought like that 500 kV generator, which puts them off the grid now. That thing's like, I don't know, about $1 million.
Yeah, it is.
Or so, whatever. So it's still a rich school. A lot of privileged people, I think, attend the school. And so a lot of my mates were still there, and I thought, hey, I miss my people. Let me go visit them. So I'm 18 or whatever it is. I take off, I hitchhike, I get to Kapirimposhi. I'm, on another van trailer thing, heading to Mukushi. I'm just like, I'm going to have a good time with my people. I get there, they're in uniform, I'm there, earring now, bald, thinking I'm Shaquille O'Neal, probably on a few substances at the time. And while in the space, the school administrator He's since passed on, but he comes to me, and I'm thinking he's about to, tell me good stories. Hey, that, man shouted at me so much, he turned red. This is what I remember. Cause he's saying, we're in arrears. I'm not meant to be on that campus. And he just, he gave me like the biggest telling off an 18-year-old could take. And so, yeah, that's how I left that place, tail between my legs. They organized the lift to get me off the property.
Just off the property.
Yeah. Then I had to hitchhike back,
Didn't go how you thought it would go,
into Kabwe. No, it didn't. I mean, and that's the thing, friendships are weird because a lot of the guys, we since, maybe recalibrated our friendships. But at that point, you kind of think, these are my people. You get there and you find like one or two are still, your guys. Right. But a lot of them are just giving you attitude, Like, so you realize
you're not a rich kid anymore. You're not one of us anymore.
So I think maybe a hint of that.
What did you think it was?
I kind of think it's you can't take everything for granted. Like right now we're boys, right? Can I use another story to tell the story? Means. So when I was, for example, at Radio Phoenix as a presenter, I was celebrated. You know how it is. You guys experience this all the time as well. And we then
don't actually,
man.
No.
That's that podcast.
You can carry on.
But anyway, I'm a radio presenter, and then all these people who give you things, and then on one day I decide I have an argument with the GM. I resign. I walk out the office huffing and puffing. I go downstairs, and then I meet a guy who's a show promoter, and he's a guy I've been working with for years. So he was coming upstairs to tell me that ISL wanted me to, I think, DJ the event or MC the school leavers something. It was MC.
It was their prom night.
Yeah, prom night. Yeah. So he's giving me this brief, then I'm like, then before we complete the conversation, I tell him, I've just walked out the studio there. I had this argument with the boss, whatnot. And he also used to work part-time at the station. And he joins me and, we're talking about this thing. And then afterwards, the person I was with says, okay, so let's talk about the money for the ISL thing. Maybe we can complete that deal. Then the promoter says, well, it can't work now, and then off he goes. So you realize
you're no longer at Radio Phoenix.
Yeah, you're no longer at Radio Phoenix. So there's some situations where your currency or your importance is hinged on the place you're at.
Right.
And I think it's unfortunate, but it's just life. That's what it is. Yeah.
But how much value do you think, I have to phrase my question properly. How much value do you think they would have seen in you if they are only going to attach a certain deal based off where you're at?
So are we talking the DJ or are we talking about
the well, the DJ for now.
Or the DJ. Well, at the time, and if we're honest, sometimes institutions are bigger than the people that work for them.
Absolutely, yeah.
So even though that time I was, sharpshooter, what, Phoenix was still much bigger, I was like part of the machinery. I was a cog in the bigger scheme of things. So I think he came with the approach that he was hiring this guy from that place. And so now when that place is not in the picture, then
and he was hoping you could bring a piece of Radio Phoenix to the event.
Exactly.
Then you become irrelevant.
Exactly. Okay. I mean, there was a time when I was working at Phoenix where guys would go to do gigs and they would manufacture situations so that when they go to the gig, they were the company car, the branded company car. You know what I mean? So if it meant, I might get in trouble for this. If it meant tampering with the transmitter in Kabwe so that boss says, go and fix the transmitter. The signal is wrong. Okay, sir, we're going. They get the car, the company
go
car.
To the gig
then
first.
They go they park and then all the DJs who are going to the gig in Kabwe get in the car. So if it meant tampering on the damn transmitter in Kabwe so that when you show up in Kabwe, you're coming with a company car that's branded because of, then do that. That's
Mrs. Pemba should see this.
you know where my mind took me, Chilu, when it comes to like the school where you went to.
Yeah.
I'll give you a story of a mate of mine. His name is Kudzai. He was the CEO for the Hilton Hotel. He went to this really elite school called St. George's. Was it John's? I don't know.
St. John's, probably.
In Zim.
In Zim, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there is something about those kinds of schools that if you went to that school,
Yeah.
right, whether or not you completed, the fact that you went to that school,
Yeah, it's
and if
currency.
you meet, it's currency, right? And when you meet later on in life, the fact that you've gone to that school kind of gives you an edge over anybody else.
Yeah.
Be it business wise, be it if you go into a job interview and you realize that, wait, one of the CVs is somebody who went to that kind of school. So there is this unspoken
Code.
and
you're right.
bond
Totally.
for life. And one of the guys who was the bosses at APSA, they ended up being best of friends for that very reason. So I don't quite know where the disconnect then comes, where you had been there and then you left for whatever reason, and then you go back, and then now these guys are looking at you sideways.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I wouldn't say it was everyone. I mean, obviously, there's some people who I would remember because I'd be like, but we were cool just a few months ago,
Right.
So why the attitude? But in general, what you're saying is totally on point, and I think there's so much truth in that, and that's why some people, even though it's a struggle to afford private school, knowing that thing can turn into something else is why they make the sacrifice.
Yeah.
To put the kids through private school or, elite colleges and stuff like that. So in my situation, and that's why I was saying, like, with some guys, the friendships have recalibrated because also, I'm describing guys who were 16, 17. My daughters now are older than the age that I'm describing. And when I look at things even through their lenses, I can tell that, that attitude might live then.
Absolutely.
Because of what's popping in their lives then. But, with time, you grow. And,
But
yeah.
how much of that recalibration of the
Yeah.
friendship that you have do you think is due to that being genuine, or you now being the Chilu that you are now? Because obviously, if I didn't like you then for whatever reason, and you've become who you are now, I'm gonna bend over backwards to try and say, "Oh yeah, you remember
I
that
was in
other
the same
time."
class with Chilu. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good question. I haven't thought about it. so I want to
Or
give you an
ask
answer.
them
I
now.
haven't thought about it. Yeah. Yeah. I haven't thought about it, but I think with sometimes you can tell who's genuine and who's not.
Because you are a pure soul, right? So it goes back to who you are, because you see the good in people. So you want to believe that, no, they're being genuine.
I want to believe I'm a good soul, I might not be, but yeah, I think you got a point, man. All I can do is agree with you. But there are, like I say, there's some people who, at that point, I saw them in a different light. And even though now we can be cool, it's not cool to the degree that we were back then, because almost like there was a chasm, a wall between what was just like pure friendship, pure kids growing up, pure kids, having experiences that are common to each other, camping and doing all these things. And then all of a sudden, that happens. You grow up and you know what? Life does this weird thing where we are not the product of the investment that our parents made purely. I might be butchering this, but a lot of the guys that you interact with when you're young, in quote unquote a rich circle, some of them lean so heavily on their parents' support to the extent that they think that will last right through life. And then you fast forward to a situation where you'll see that same circle, and there's some people who just have, guts, determination, and push through regardless of what was going on in their lives. Whereas there are other people who, based on the fact that maybe the parents weren't able to sustain that thing, down these guys are subject to not being in stable situations themselves,
right.
because they didn't develop that grit. I mean, I'll give you an example of, the one of my closest friends at school, his name was Mweshingandwe. His name is Mweshingandwe. He's now in the States, but they were very wealthy. They probably still are. Salute to his dad, Colonel Ngandwe, whose birthday I think was 2 days ago. I saw a post online. But even though they were the first guys I knew who had like a big satellite dish, who had like, then it was things still called Mnet before it became DStv.
Right.
They did trips to South Africa. They did all these things, right? But when you went to visit them, like I did at their house, they had to wash their own clothes. They had to iron their own clothes. It wasn't up to the help, because there was an acknowledgement from the parents that you have to start setting things that toughen them up even from that early stage, which is not the case with a lot of us. We don't want our kids to go through the same struggles as we did. So we put kids' gloves and ring fence them. And I think to a degree that might be detrimental, you know. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out in my head, but I do think that the situations where some guys who I knew from back then who were rich and were just, you know, dealt with things because the parents could afford the stuff and they didn't have fundamentals that kept them grounded on their own. Some of them are struggling, you know, fast forward to today.
You quickly became a big household name at Radio Phoenix. I'm more curious about how you got in to start with. There's always an interesting story.
How much time you got, K-Plus?
We got time for days.
You want me to abridge it?
Yeah.
Radio Phoenix, man. Okay, you guys are my brothers. You told me my lips are funny. If my lips are chapped, you'll tell me. I should be sipping. Tell me more about brothers.
One. Yeah. You have one right there. You knocked it over.
Yeah. Are you offering? I'm gonna move the mic.
Especially after the trauma you went through at Chengelo, I need to give you this. We need to give you your flowers, man.
Oh, hamper! Look at you, spoiling a brother.
So this is courtesy of brothers.
While I organize my thoughts, tell me about this. Which one did you say was your favorite?
That one is a good one as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I like the pina colada, the yellow one. So
I'm gonna try this.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So
you got a glass and a t-shirt in there.
And a towel.
All 4 flavors.
Oh, wow.
And there's a towel as well.
Yeah.
Oh, no, thanks so much.
Yeah. No problem.
Yeah. Let me tell you, you guys have shocked me.
How so?
In terms of how your decorum. Because you could have joked about the fact that there's a towel in there and what it could be used for. Ordinarily.
You know what he said yesterday? So how I knew he was in the country. I was driving into East Park, He was driving out. So that looks like Chilu. So I call him and I ask him, are you in the country? And he says, did you just see me? I'm busy looking around and I'm sure you've seen me somewhere. I said, yeah, I've seen you at East Park. Can we do an episode today, like now? And he says,
who says this?
I told him that.
All right.
And he says, I can never come to your podcast.
Why, bro?
And he says, you guys can see me eating a bowl of cereal and you can make the most of it. He says, you guys can twist anything. I could be eating a bowl of cereal and Elson would just twist things.
I didn't mention you.
Okay, you didn't mention that. He just said you guys.
The villain of the podcasting world. No, let me tell you now. As a guy who's been watching the podcast, I have to salute you guys for you've taken the brand. I mean, like, this is from one guy who might have been skeptical about the approach that you guys had, but the diligence and the consistency and the vibe that you've managed to sustain, this is me saluting you. And even though I was saying to you that I can't come and say all that kind of stuff, I'm here. I knew.
No, the reason why I was telling you to wait is because I need this as a sound clip, Gob.
Yeah.
We need you to cut this out. And this is going to play in perpetuity. So that, because my man, this coming from you, man, that
no, because let's be honest, we've been trying to have Chilu for what, 2 years now. Remember, we kept saying we'll go to Joburg, we'll go to Joburg, we'll go to Joburg.
Yeah.
Never happened.
No. I salute you, and we met in Joburg like some months ago. But yeah, I think you guys have done a great thing.
Your studio is far. I had to drive literally for an hour.
From where? Far is dependent on where you were coming from.
It's relative. It could be close to his home.
True. Well, to his home, but hey, my man. So yes, a beautiful studio. He took me around the entire studio, and when we went to meet, it was at the back of I had met with Tony Forbes.
Yes.
Remember.
Late AK's dad. Yeah.
AKA's dad, and they wanted us to shoot.
Yeah.
Come to find out that AKA's mom records from your studio.
Yeah. She records her podcast. It's called Outspoken Owls, together with Katie Muhammad.
Yeah.
So they've done two seasons. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How you got into Radio Phoenix?
Yeah. How I got into Radio Phoenix? No. So salute.
Thank you so much.
Radio Phoenix was a weird situation because I was on the back of, it sounds funny that I was like so deep in the rap world, but I was hell bent on making it in rap because we're doing that vernac English thing. which is now commonplace. Back then it wasn't. So, back in 94, that was our main thing. We went to South Africa trying that out with, Alan Vula, aka MC Suicide, aka now DJ Life.
Huh? AKA who?
MC Suicide at the
And
time.
listen how he changed his name from Suicide to Life.
DJ Life. He's on 5FM.
Wait, in the States?
No, yeah.
Sorry. What did I say in the States? I want to say in the SA.
Met him
No,
recently.
he's here. Yeah.
MC
Alan Vula.
Suicide.
Yeah.
That was his first name.
That
Then
was
he
his
changed
first
it
name,
to Life.
but you know where he came from?
Tell me.
Remember breakdance? There used to be a style called suicide, where you dance and then you do such a dangerous flip and land on your back
And your legs up.
and like almost like flat on your back, and so that was his specialty.
Okay.
During the breakdance days, it was called the suicide. You know, that would be the yeah. So when he became a rapper, it was called MC Suicide. So yeah, DJ Life and I back then were trying that stuff out. It wasn't working at some point. During that time, Radio Phoenix was about to open up. My mother saw, Errol Hickey being interviewed on TV, talking about the station that's, soon to come. So she told me about it. And, you know, she says, you know, you're into entertainment. Maybe you should, try for that thing. I think I pretended as if I wasn't interested. The next day I'm trying to find out where is this place, you know. So I went through to Hickey Studios, which was on the south end of Lusaka, Cairo Road, that side.
Right.
That's where I thought, you know, the station would be. Mrs. Pemba, who was the general manager, was situated there. I, at the time, spoke to a lady called Grace Shaba. I think she's still about, I've seen her on Facebook, so she must still be around. She was working at the station at the time. So I got there and, I was a fast talker back then with nothing much to lose. So I told her, no, I hear there's a station coming up. You know, we do promotions. We're looking to collaborate. Start talking all this nonsense. So she's like, oh, hold on. Let's, get you to speak to the GM, Mrs. Pemba. Mrs. Pemba, go into her room. I'm trying the same spiel with her, but Mrs. Pemba was like super alert. She could see through this thing. Before you know it, she's like, you're looking for a job. You know, so then she kind of, you know, asked me if I've done DJing before. I lie, you know, that I have. I start describing some event where I was actually a waiter, you know, at a school event. And I'm just telling all these lies. Then in the
Did
end,
you see through this?
yeah, I'm sure she could see through. Mrs. Pepe, have you met her?
No.
I've heard the stories from
Mrs.
Gesh,
Pemba-
Kenny T, and then
Yeah, like all the guys in radio will tell you about Mrs. Elizabeth Pemba. She, in terms of her psychology and whatnot, is gifted. That's all I'll say. I mean, she's something else. So anyway, she told me, bring a demo. I went, recorded on my little, home stereo at home, came back with it, got on a bus, took it to Hickey Studios. I think it was the same day. And then, she plays it. She lights up a cigarette. She walks out the room. I'm like, oh, flip, I've messed this up. And then she comes back years later. Her story is that she was trying to see how far the voice projects. So that's why she left the room with the tape playing, you know. And then she came back, and then next thing she wrote me a letter to go to the station at, Society House to hand it to the DJ supervisor, whose name was Jack Kamuza. So, you know, off I went, and I got there the same day as Zach Chavula, late Zach Chavula. And, that's how I met Carol, my wife. Because Carol was the first employee at Radio Phoenix.
Oh.
Yeah, first employee.
What was she employed?
She was employed as, job title was computer operator.
because nobody else could do
When
it.
the hell was this?
1996. Wow. Computer operator.
Computers
bro.
are relatively new in the country then, yeah.
So it was her, Jack Kamuza, and Moses Nyama who were at the station at the time. Jack played the tape. She came. She's the first one who said, you're good. You know, she told me that, and she bounced back in. Jack and Moses didn't kind of, you know, tell me that they were impressed or whatever, but obviously they had their own things going, you know. So they did test transmissions. It took us about 2 weeks before Zach and I got on air. We got on air on the same day. Moses and, Jack taught us how to work the systems. Yeah. And then we went on for like 30 minutes. The first song I played, I think, was The Power, which then became Zach's Sig tune. And then I played Seal's Kiss from a Rose. And that was, and then from there, yeah, things just started, snowballing. Before you knew it, we were, you know, quote unquote household names. Life became weird.
How long were you at Radio Phoenix for?
I was there for, in total, I think 3 years.
And then you quit.
Then I quit. So the first year, It was, DJing. Second year, sponsored shows, starting to get money, emceeing, whatnot. Second year is when the building burnt. And so we were relocated to Kablonga.
Yeah.
And then when we relocated, that's when I was appointed acting station manager. I was 22. 22?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then moved back to Zimco House. And then, I think when we moved back to Zimco House, that was my last year there. So 98. So from beginning of 96 to end of 98. That's 3 years, man.
Don't skim over the story of how you quit. The drama that ensued
I quit twice.
the first time.
The first time I quit.
And how you went back to beg for your job.
Yeah, I didn't even beg for the job.
Oh, you did. According to your story.
You read a bootleg version of the book. No. So, but to your story, what happened is, I was doing sponsored shows. So the show that, it's put it this way. Elsa, you're in marketing, right? If you get a client, if you get, brothers to sponsor the show, you get a commission from it. At the time, because I was employed full time, I wasn't getting a cut from any of the shows that I was hosting, right? But the marketing person was killing it. So at some point, I was now becoming like the dude who knows how to do these branded shows. I had a knack of making them interesting and exciting. Right. So she would just come and dump a show, goes to the next sponsor, comes and dumps another show. So now I'm like shows and shows and shows, but I'm still on salary and not getting a cut. But she's, getting cuts from bringing in the business.
Right.
So at some point, she brought me another show, and I was like, no. So she's like, what do you mean no? I'm like, no, I'm full. I can't, I've got no capacity to even think anymore. Like I'm thingy. So she went now to the general manager and says, this guy's refusing to do the show I've just given him. So next thing, I'm being called into the meeting, and the whole thing had been sold to her as insubordination or something. So now I'm in this office and, I'm being told, so now you're refusing to do shows. You're too big to do shows. And I'm like, no, it's not. So we're having this argument. And I'm like, in fact, when I came here, I didn't even want to do commercial things, cause in my mind, I was like 19 or whatever. I thought radio was you're just playing jams. I wasn't looking at the commercial element.
Right.
So I'm like, no, so we're having this argument. And I think I could sense that, the curtain's closing. So I quit before I was fired, and so that's how I left the station. And that's the same day that story I told you about earlier happened.
Because the ISO prom night.
Yeah, prom night. Yeah. Because I just exited the building and that situation happened. And I was unemployed for 2 months. And then during the second month, I met up with a guy called VJ Popat. I think VJ owned Go Bananas nightclub.
Popsy,
yeah. So Popsy had a Christmas thing. He was reopening his club. Mm-hmm. And he had a couple of DJs who were doing a radio show to promote the club. But he didn't think that they had the sizzle to pull off the radio show. So I was a club DJ. I'm like, I'm useless if you put me in front of an audience with thingy. But he thought I'd be good for the radio show. So he came up and says, can you do my radio show and do the club thing, and I'll pay you. The amount he was paying me was more than what I was getting at Phoenix. So I'm like, yo, I'm in. So I DJ'd for him at the club for about a month. Mm-hmm. Then once the Christmas season ended, he offered me a job to, do something else among his businesses. And I was like, yo, radio's calling me. So that's how I kind of, swallowed my pride and
went back.
So you're probably right. I probably did go back.
You
begging.
did go back.
Yeah. And then, but when I got back now, the terms were different. Now I was getting paid because I was freelance when I went back. Mm-hmm. And as a freelancer, now you get a cut from the shows.
All right.
So all of a sudden now my earnings started getting a bit bloated. And that's why low key, I kind of think, I delayed when they told me they wanted to appoint me as acting station manager. I had a conversation with my late mom. I'm like, if I do that, then I'm losing out on all this money because I'm back to full-time employment.
Yeah.
So there's the promotion, but there's the money. And I was like all about the money, but my mom was on that spiritual, no, promotions don't come from the east or the west. Promotions
they come from God.
And what,
That sort of goes to a deeper discussion, right?
Yeah.
Working for yourself or employment. Because, when you're employed, you have that luxury and that safety of a salary. And with the other side is you kind of have to sing for your supper.
Yeah.
So, but you ended up going the other route where you then...
Yeah, I got employed full-time. I was on salary for a while. And I think it was good in terms of CV, because even up to now, I can still float it and say, youngest acting station manager or acting station manager of a radio station. I don't know if there's been somebody who's beaten that record now.
No, 22.
22.
I don't think so.
We've had the youngest pilot.
Oh, yeah.
His age hasn't changed.
But he was a manager.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just an opportunity to bring in Kalenga.
Who's a good man. I've seen him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did that. And I think that was the second last time I was employed full time. And since then, it's been what you were saying, singing for your supper. And I think it's more fulfilling when you're self-employed, because you're able to navigate situations with maturity, learn from them. When you're burnt, it's an exciting journey. It's scary, but I've enjoyed that more.
But on the flip side of the same coin, you were making more money from the clubs and whatever, but you didn't love that.
Yeah.
You chose what you were more passionate about, even though it was paying less.
Yeah.
So I'd rather play into the passion than the money.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you got.
And in the same period, you have mentioned in the book how much you sucked as a DJ, and you couldn't quite do that thing because your passion was on the microphone, in radio, doing voiceovers. And it's sort of as if God smiled on you the moment you go back into radio, because you started getting the big deals. Remember the MMD voiceovers?
Yes.
Talk about that as well.
I mean, the whole voiceover thing. When what Radio Phoenix, right? There used to be this thing called Shopping Basket. I think it's been discontinued, right? It was for small businesses. If you can't afford to have your ad during prime time, then they just bunch up all your ads. And
I remember
for 30 minutes it'd be ad after ad.
I remember when Dumi came in, he said, when Dumi Lopang came in Radio Phoenix, he said that was the first thing they scraped off.
Yeah.
Shopping
It was
basket.
bad, man. Like 30 minutes
of
non-stop
adverts.
ads. And if you were in the station, they'd
that
pay
is
you
so
like
funny.
5,000 kwacha. I don't know what that equates to now for voicing them. So I used to be like, no, I can't be voicing Shopping Basket at some point, because it would be like, you do tenure guaranteed, but the thing is, you're all over, in terms of your
Overexposed.
You're overexposed.
So
exactly.
all your poor companies, we're going to give you a segment of 50 of your,
You're gonna
we are
fit
bunching
30
you
minutes.
into
You
this.
see, in 2024, it sounds funny. Back then, it was like,
serious business. Every radio
man. It was a
station had
cash
that.
cow.
Yeah.
Have you heard that voiceover? The one that speaks really fast when they say the terms and conditions after they,
Terms and conditions
right?
apply. That is not included. What is the stuff?
That's how I figured the Shopping Basket. Right?
No, and they were long, and they had the same background music. Ting, ting. Are you looking for blah blah blah?
Then come to the corner of Chilu Lemba Road and fax number, PO box.
Yeah. Wow. Bruh. Anyway, so those things were going on, and then on the other front, we had people like Errol Hickey who had the MMD campaign.
Hickey.
Yeah.
God rest his soul, man. God rest his soul.
Oh, Snappy died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not funny.
Man, he's the first guy I think who was paying me decent money for voiceover. Sometimes from his pocket, man. Sometimes you'd be like, you're in the studio, like, okay, that was. So I owe you from the pocket, man. Here comes the cash. So it was that. It was the privatization agency campaign. It was a lot of these blue chipish thingies that I started doing, and that was my entry into decent voiceover money. And I realized, like, that's where the real money was. So in terms of the earnings, the least I was getting was from salary. Then it was later on the sponsored shows money was good. Then it was the voiceover money started getting good. Then at the top was the MCing money, because I was MCing gigs on weekends, mostly weddings, which I don't do anymore. But yeah, that was those were the income streams back when I was at Phoenix.
But tell me something.
Yes.
So you're a radio DJ and you transition into voiceover. When you begin doing the whole MC gigs, I'm trying to figure out, did anywhere in your mind register whether people were booking you, A, for the personality that you had? Because for you to be a likable radio DJ or host, you kind of have to have some kind of personality, right?
Yeah.
And charisma to you. Or B, do you think that it was the way that you sound that would then have you people say, okay, so we want to pick Chilu as as the MC. You could have an MC who's got a horrible sounding voice, but their personality, they're funny, they relate well with the audience. Did anywhere in your mind register that it could be more of how I sound more than either my personality or anything else?
I think in the beginning, there are a lot of people who don't know what they're hiring in the early days. But after a while, there's word of mouth, there's a track record, which allows people to know what they're getting. Yeah. So initially, I mean, I remember a situation where there was this high profile wedding at Intercontinental Hotel. It was, the former ambassador to Washington, whose daughter was getting married to a very rich family that owned like a private charter company, air charter company and stuff. At that wedding, I kid you not, the ministers and all the kind of stuff. But before I got that gig, I hadn't emceed weddings. I hadn't emceed anything high profile kind of, thing. But it just so happened that the person that was tasked to find the MC was given the brief that they needed somebody who can communicate with an international audience because a lot of people were flying in for this wedding. And so she was driving, listening to radio, and I was interviewing a group from Uganda, a gospel group called First Love, who were touring the country. So she started thinking this guy might be the dude, but she'd never seen me because, public ear, punch, So she eventually then phones the station. And then I'm told that, please, can you wait? There's a person who's coming through. Her name's Toela Chanta. She's based in Livingston now. She wants to see you. So I'm chilling at the station. And they didn't tell me why. So she comes and I don't remember if she said, thank you, God, or something, because she then explains to me that you fit the bill in terms of, how you sound, but I didn't know how you look. So I didn't want to hire somebody based on the sound and then the awkward looking.
Right, and they look like, Kwame Moro.
Yeah, exactly. So eventually,
sorry.
Yeah, so eventually anyway, when I got to the meeting where it was held at, the Manakatwe's residence, John Margaret Manakatwe's residence.
It's the one at the ranch, no?
No, that was before.
Before Kwisoko ranch happened, okay.
Yeah, before Kwisoko.
Kwisoko.
Yeah, before that.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, I got there and, I didn't have my game organized. I mean, they were with the cap and all these, wealthy people asking me questions again. Have you emceed before? I pulled that same lie I told Mrs. Pemba.
Been there, done
yes,
that.
I emceed a wedding. I start describing the wedding when I was a waiter. So anyway, I somehow passed that thing, man. I was so frightened thereafter when I started seeing the guest list, which included Errol Hickey, boss man, which included Ronald Penza, like all these ministers, head of ZRA, whatnot. I'm looking at this list. I'm like, Flip, how am I going to pull this off? But I got to the event. I got a suit. And I remember the first thing I said, I rehearsed with the band. The band was the Big Gold 6. So I said to them, I'm going to say, when I mention your name, I'll say the Big Gold 6. And then you carry on with the song. So anyway, now when it was time, everyone settled. And I say, ladies and gentlemen, this is a different era, but I said, ladies and gentlemen, Bill Cosby couldn't be here tonight, so I'm your MC. All these rituals.
I love the disclaimer.
Bill Cosby, yeah, that was the disclaimer. Because we're in 2024.
Because if you say that now, people are covering their drinks. Nobody's drinking nothing.
The women don't feel safe anymore.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. Right? They have to start covering their drinks.
So anyway, I say that and they say, now please give a big round of applause to the band, the Big Gold 6. They start playing. I'm walking off. I'm thinking, okay, we've done. I'm just hearing applause as I walk off. I'm like, oh, flip. Okay, so it worked. And then, yeah, from there, started. And the thing with, and this is I know we're probably running out of time, but this is the thing with MCing.
We have all the time in the world.
With MCing, what I found works for me is you have to pick moments from what's happening. You draw from the different things that are happening so that it's organic. You're sharing a moment. You can prepare some things, but a lot of it will be, things that are happening as you go. And so I remember at that wedding, at some point the guests started giving lavish gifts to the bridal, to the couple. So some would say, okay, we're giving you, we're pledging three bulls or whatever, expensive bulls. These guys are pledging whatever, that kind of thing, right?
Right.
And then I get a note. And then I look at the note and I realize the person who's sending the note is a high profile guy who wants to share the joke. So I say, okay, ladies and gentlemen, I've been asked to read this note. It says, Mr. MC, please take note that the head of ZRA, what is in the thing, and he has taken note of all these donations. You know what I mean? So that's part of, you know what I mean? It's part of the event. So that's what I think makes like good emceeing. I'm not saying I'm the best, but the thing is, you're sharing vibes. It's an energy exchange, and that's what makes the thing memorable. I'll give you one last example, regarding this is I've just come from Livingston from an event called the Engage Summit, where I was doing voice of God duties. Basically behind the scenes, they hear your voice, they don't see you emceeing.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they call it voice of God. Yeah, when you're doing my announcements.
MC light kind of thing at the BET Awards.
Yeah. So in this instance, there was a professor from the States. Her name is Alex Carter, and she was talking about the psychology of money. So as she's talking, she says the same rush that you get when you do a deal, when you get money, scientifically is equated to the rush that your body feels when you take cocaine. She said something like that during her talk. So when she finished the talk, as she's walking down, then I say on the mic, like, Alex, back when I was a DJ, I'd cue a song which would play as you're walking off. And I've been thinking, should I have played Money, 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 or the theme for Narcos, based on what you said about the cocaine, you know? So it's like I'm drawing something from what she's So, okay, it's silly, but you know what I mean? But like that, you're in the moment and you're connecting with the audience, the speaker, and basically I think MC should do more of that stuff.
I needed to hear this because just as we were walking in together, I remember my phone rang and we parted ways at the door. I got a call from one of the big breweries and they want me to MC an event in a few days' time. I needed to hear this. I really needed to hear this. Thanks a lot.
No,
you can send the invoice tomorrow. We're talking about the MMD voiceover. Yeah. How did that come? What did that do in your life?
Yeah.
And I know it is a time when there was a general hate for Kenneth Kaunda.
Yes.
Sort of around the country in 1996. Yeah.
So with that thing, what it did for me is it made me rich. No, it didn't. Well, I got a bag for that. So the backstory, Elton, is that that time Errol Hickey had the campaign, had the business to run the campaign for MMD during their second term in office.
Yeah.
So he was doing all the TV ads and all the radio ads. What I remember about that particular campaign, because I was the voice, saying vote MMD, and again, I'm bringing my mother into the story. She was like, but this could be dangerous, because there was like an air of danger in the air. People were thinking UNIP was going to do some things. So she was like, do they know where you stay? What not? Because, you're doing voiceover, but it's almost like it's an endorsement, because people now know you from radio. So they know that the guy who's voicing is that guy. But what I recall is that, you know how presidential portraits are hung in different offices?
Yeah, by law in this country.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the Kaunda one, which used to be at Radio Phoenix, at Hickey Studios rather, was stored in the room where voiceovers were done. So they had like a little closet where they didn't have mics like as fancy as this back then. Errol Hickey and Hickey Studios, they used to use lapel mics to do voiceovers with. So I'm in that little closet and I'm voicing MMD and there's KK staring at me, So I channeled my fear of this man, because we're all, indoctrinated to fear KK. So I'm just channeling that, to get the energy to kind of, vote MMD, because I'm thinking like that's the alternative, and true story, man. And years later now I realize that they brainwashed us, man.
A whole lot.
KK, they made him seem like he was prime evil. They told us he had stolen $6 billion. If he stole $6 billion, why did he not leave the country when, curtains closed on his rule? They told us all sorts of stuff, but, that's the nature of politics, I guess.
True. It's a dirty game.
Yeah.
So at what point did you then realize, and was it money? Because I remember when you were telling the story, you then realized how the voiceover gigs were actually giving you a lot more money.
Yeah.
Is that when you then figured, let me go the route of voiceovers?
I suppose, well, when I was doing it in SA, I had to, when I was doing it in Zambia, I had to kind of keep all these other avenues open. So in Zambia, voiceover was still not the topmost thing in terms of earnings. It was still emceeing. Whereas when I moved to SA eventually, their industry in terms of voiceover is so organized that you can't compare what you can earn from voiceover to any of the other things that I do. You know, so I don't know if I'm answering the question, but yeah, you can pull me back if I'm veering away.
Yeah, no, so because you're the master of your craft now. So I was trying to figure out, number one, at what point did you realize, okay, this is what I want to focus on and hone in on?
Yeah.
And B, was the reason why you then decided to take that route that, okay, so this is where I'm getting the most bread.
So now I can answer, I suppose, more accurately, because the time that I had to make that decision wasn't when I was here. It was when I was in SA, working as a project manager at Young and Rubicam in South Africa. They have a sister company called Wonderman, and I was working as a project manager. And at the same time, I was trying to get into radio. So I had auditioned for to be on 94.7 Highveld Stereo. They had a competition and what. And,
Very white station. That
very white
Very high paying as well.
Well, now they've blackened it up. But back then, back then it was like very, very, very white. But now
looked like it was snowing there, huh?
But if you look at their lineup now, I mean, Anele hosts the morning show. I don't know who does the other, because I don't, listen after the morning show, but it's a black lineup
BEE, bruh.
but they're talented because they're gonna kick you when I get there. We saw you on the podcast.
You were saying we're BEE. We're filling in a quota.
No, they're majorly talented.
Virgin, I think there's some food for me at the reception. Please just check for me. Or is it there? Okay, cool. Sorry, as you were?
So man. So when eventually I started doing voiceovers, it was like you run away from the office to go and do a recording. That kind of, and it wasn't working, after a while. And so I had a conversation with my wife and I said, okay, if I do two voiceovers a month, that equates my salary right now. So if I resign and we hold out and I get two, then your rent is sorted. Plus you're working, plus, so we had this conversation and that's how I eventually resigned. And then, two turned to three a month, turned to whatever. Turned to, it snowballed after that, but it took a while.
On average, how many voiceovers are you doing a month now?
I'm not trying to count your pockets. I'm trying to count your pockets.
This conversation is too soon after.
Chilu.
Right, yeah.
All of us in this country, like in the voiceover business, look up to you. And I know many of us send our works to you for approval and, whatever tweak. I do that. Whenever I'm doing an advert, I send to you.
Man. But your stuff's dope, man.
Yeah, I send them to you for approval. And I want to be inspired. Like, where am I going?
No, to be honest, I don't know how many I just do. Like, I don't count per se, but there's some which are sent to me. Like, even while I've been in Osaka, they'll send me stuff. Fortunately, we've got the studio up, here. So I'll go there, record them, send them through. Sometimes I'm recording in the hotel room, but I'm constantly recording, man. And it's, because I've got responsibilities. It's not just like I'm getting bag for the sake of bag. I've got like a lot of other things that rely on me getting voiceover back for them to be activated. So that's the reason I'm doing that. But this is like random, but I'm just adding it in because of showing you where I am in life. With all that said, I'm still getting trained. So that might shock you, might shock you, might not, I don't know, who knows. But I've been like from July doing a masterclass with a guy called Joe Cipriano. And I'm accountable to him. I'll send him, he'll give me assignments. I send the recordings. 2 days ago, I think I was showing Kamisa the video of him saying, "You're not yet there yet with this read." Because, and he's just the same script, man. I'm like 6 times, and he's like, okay, yeah, now go listen to the first one you did compared with this one you've just done. So I'm still getting coached, man. I'm 49. I've been doing this for 30 years. You're the best in the game,
man. You're winning awards in America.
The thing. I'm getting awards, but I'm not. I'm still open to learning. Like, I've learned stuff between July and now.
What is the biggest or the most recognizable brand that you've done a voiceover for?
I've done stuff for, FIFA, Samsung, MTV,
Nissan,
MTV, Africa,
MTV Networks International.
That's incredible.
I did what's that thing? There was a documentary on Mandela.
Yeah,
and this opportunity came about from Zambian, who was at the time working at MTV Networks International. But they had Beyonce narrate the Mandela documentary, which I think is online still. And then when Mandela died, I think there was now going to be an issue of like, do we pay Beyonce royalties or for that thing, or do we just replace the voice?
So they did with you?
Yeah.
You replaced Beyonce?
Yeah, man. And that was the worst thing. That was the worst. I'll tell you why it was bad. Because Beyonce went too fast. Too fast. So now matching, because they can't change the video. It's already been done. So she's not a voice artist, because like you need breathing thing. That Z podcast is brought to you by, you need something to breathe, you know what I mean? But if you're not ordinarily a voice artist, you'll just speed through this thing. So her read was like, you know, like that terms and conditions thing you're talking about.
Yeah.
So it wasn't fun in that respect. So I can put it on the CV like, yeah, I've done that.
I replaced Beyonce.
I replaced Beyonce.
Put
But
that
it
on the
wasn't
CV.
fun.
Serious, eh?
It wasn't fun, yeah.
Man, that's
For any-
massive. And which one paid you the most? I'm not going to ask you how much.
Oh, which one paid me the most? I don't know, man. There's one for which I used to use as a reference, because voiceover in SA and in other countries, right? There are two elements. There's the performance fee and then there's the usage fee. So when you hear somebody got paid a lot, it's because of the usage fee.
Right?
Yeah. So I remember once going to record a thing. It was for a bank. You know, I won't mention the bank because I'm doing a lot of stuff for banks at the moment. So I don't want to alienate my client, you know. But it was for a continental football tournament, and so I recorded this thing and you know forgot about it and left. The next thing when I saw the statement, I'm like, damn, you know. So
How much was it?
It's at a number of zeros.
You just said.
I don't want to say it, nigga.
Chilu, how much was it?
How many figures?
Off air.
Like
No,
five
it-
figures,
it,
six.
it wasn't over $1 million. It wasn't over $1 million. Yeah.
So it was 999,000.
0.99.
No, but yeah. So that was I called my agent like, is there an error? You know, did you?
It's too many zeros.
Yeah, did you misprint? But yeah, man. So there's usage and there's performance. So that's the thing.
And how do you gauge? Is there a market rate? Is
Yes.
there?
So with and that's why if you're going into voiceover, I still say you need an agent on your team, because they know what's going on in terms of
What are you looking for?
what's been
You gave
allocated.
your phone to Gob. Oh, sorry. You
you're
see
running
what I
fast.
deal with? This is got a goldfish memory.
Yeah, I do actually. Come, I need. There's something I need to pick up from my phone.
But sorry. Go ahead.
With this.
Yeah. So
You said you need an agent. I had asked you.
Yeah.
if there's a
So
market
I was saying getting an agent is key, because they'll know there's a rate card. Yeah, but they'll also be able to negotiate. Sometimes I get a call from my agent saying, the budget for this is X. And it's below what ordinarily the budget would be. Are you cool with it? I'm like, yeah. So you work in collaboration with your agent, but yeah, that's how it kind of works.
You know what I want to find out? There's a lot of tech, right? We've got AI.
Yeah.
How much of technology and where it is going do you think would actually, number one, maybe, enhance what you're doing, or might be a threat to what you're doing?
I think it just depends on which side you want to sit in terms of the conversation. For a long time, I've been thinking that it'll create more opportunities. So I'm always curious about what's going on tech-wise. I mean, like Apple releases stuff, I'm watching that 1 hour presentation or whatever. That's how I've been. So like when people talk about AI voices, for instance, at the moment, what the AI voice cannot deliver is soul.
Yeah.
Is because it's artificial intelligence. It maybe one day it will, but the reason why they'll hire me over it is because there's a certain thing that I can do to bring your script to life, adding emotion, adding all these little ingredients through either the way it's said, either the way I put texture into the voice at certain things. AI is not yet there, but what AI can do is you can clone your voice, and certain things that you can't do, it can take over. So, for instance, I did a demo the other time where I've cloned my voice. I can type out some stuff and it will come out sounding like me. But it can also do that in other languages.
Yeah, I was about to
in
bring that
Hindi, in
Chinese,
Portuguese, in
Mandarin,
Chinese.
yeah.
Yeah. And so that's an opportunity. It's not yet there because every time when I do the translation, I'll send the thing to maybe somebody who speaks the language, a native speaker, and they'll be like, yeah, it's almost there, but
There's a couple
almost
of
there, but
yeah.
Like the one example I gave previously is I sent the one which was Portuguese to somebody who is in Angola, and the response was, that sounds like Brazilian Portuguese. Because the AI is being, obviously the model is
influenced by them, right?
So at some point, yeah.
And it makes a lot of sense. It's incredible how vast this voiceover industry is. I was watching a Stephen Colbert.
Yeah.
And he had Samuel L. Jackson on. I didn't realize this. And it's so obvious after I watched that interview. But apparently you have one particular voiceover artist who does the translation for Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
For example, Brazil. Right. So if he does a movie and it's showing in Brazil and they're translating that to Portuguese, there's one particular person
that's correct
who plays Samuel L. Jackson.
Similar voice, yeah.
I was in LA for the Voice Arts Awards.
Yeah.
And there was one guy who was nominated. I took a photo with him. He introduced himself to me as I think he said the Mexican Leonardo DiCaprio.
Wow.
So that's his intro. Like all the Leonardo DiCaprio dubbing stuff, that's him.
That's him, right?
Yeah.
And obviously for consistency.
And another one is now when I went there last year, was Tisha Campbell. Yeah, I think it was Tisha Campbell who has somebody who does her voice in all the stuff, and they were on stage together. And there were other the translating the dubbing person was being awarded, if I remember correctly, and Tisha was there on stage to help with the presentation.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah,
that's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Just your top 3 tips for somebody getting into the voiceover business.
I think number 1 is find out as much as you can about the industry.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of resources now, so there's no excuses for not grabbing as much knowledge as you can.
YouTube is a university on its own, man.
Yeah. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing, just be real with yourself. If you are a person that can, try it out. But if you realize that you don't have what it takes, then, don't pursue it so much. Let it go,
I think it's science show.
It's like idols, like people, like the amount of people that will go into something like idols, a fraction of them can do it, but the others can't. But the other roles that you can play, you can be like so gifted in terms of admin. The agency that I belong to right now, I belong to sounds like they own me, right? but I'm signed up with, we didn't sign, so there's no documentation. Anyway, away from semantics.
The agency you're working through?
I'm working through.
Yeah.
It's called OSM. OSM stands for Owen Swanson Management. Owen Swanson is a guy who's an artist originally, and then he's now built this agency that represents from Tando Tabete to Anele. Most of these big acts are represented by him, and he does a great job. So the thing with him, I don't even think he actively acts or whatever. Bless you.
Thank you.
But the thing is, if you're good at admin, if you're good at all those things, you can still be in the industry and you can still be a force in terms of how much money you can make from it. So if you're like, no, I'm going to be voice guy, whereas maybe your strength is in another thing, then find out about that stuff and be a service provider into the industry. And then lastly, what's the last one? Last one is, could think of the voiceover thing as a business, because a lot of people look at it and think you're getting into it for fun, for acclaim, for the fact that people hear your voice. But it's not that, man. It's a business. It's you're representing, your voice is, the voice that gives life to messages by other brands. So, an example, which is maybe the last one that I'll give, because I get too many examples, but Supersport, I do a lot of stuff for Supersport.
Yeah, we hear you there a lot, yeah.
But was it 2 years ago? There was this thing on TikTok where I did some random thing and, the views went out the roof. So I was thinking of a content piece that I could do next. And I thought, why don't I show myself recording behind the scenes of a Supersport ad and then
Show
the actual ad.
Yeah.
Dude, I got in touch with I'm going to call him my handler for one of from the channel. And I said, I've got this idea. Then he says, yeah, by all means. The next thing is like, wait, hold. Then he consulted and then they came back and they're like, no, please don't. And
why?
And this is the thing. So it goes back to the point and you have to understand that back to what we said earlier on, there's Supersport, there's Chilu. If I mess up in my daily life in any respect, what happens is
the brand.
I'm affecting the brand. And they've got no control as to how I operate on the daily. So the closer I make that association, like I am the Supersport voice, the more I put them in an awkward situation if anything, you know. So if you're the custodian of a brand, you have to be also cognizant of that stuff. So understand that like it's a business and it's not about you. It's if because of that understanding, I'm like, okay, cool. I understand and you guys are right. So find some other way to kill your content.
Yeah.
Leave this one, yeah.
There was a lady that was trending, some Asian lady. Now if I'm telling the story correctly. I was trying to look for it.
Leaving this comment under my videos. The Bluetooth device has connected successfully. What does this supposed to mean? Does that mean
So this lady, her voice was taken.
Oh.
All right. And it was then made to create, that Chinese, the Bluetooth device.
Yes.
Right.
Ready to
So
pearl.
they took her voice and they created that, the Bluetooth.
Really? That Bluetooth pairing.
Right. So she made a TikTok video. And South Africans heard her and they're like, you're the Bluetooth lady. So now she's confused. What the hell are you guys talking about?
Yeah.
Until they sent her the audio and it's her voice, but she never did that.
Wow.
But it is now so big where any Chinese device or speaker, her voice is used to say the Bluetooth device
is ready to
now,
pair.
Yeah.
So she was actually, she made a video complaining about it that, wait, hold on. Let me see if I can just start it over again. Listen to this.
a lot of people leaving this comment under my videos? The Bluetooth device has connected successfully. What the...
And that's her, right? That's exactly her voice.
You can see how you can hear how she says successfully.
Yeah.
Hey, so maybe in closing, okay, Mkuka's calling.
What did he say when he called?
Hey, how's it? Yes, we are. Are you here? Yeah, pull up.
Does he know where we are?
Yeah, come into the studio. Well, Gob is coming to get you. See, this is how unprofessional we are. We answer phone calls.
No, that's dope, man.
In the presence of a god. Listen, here's what I want to find out. Does it? Oh yeah, two things actually.
Yeah.
Maybe following up on what he said. When you want to become a voiceover artist, are there things that you need to have, which is maybe do you need to sound a certain way? Does your voice have to be a certain way? Do you have to be able to enunciate words or be able to talk? So if you don't sound like Chilu, for example, you're not able to become a voiceover artist. Are the things that you have to have, or anything can be learned if you have to be a voiceover artist?
That's a tough one. And the reason why it's tough for me to respond is I've never been a good guy to identify what a good voice is. Even though I'm an active participant, I've been in situations where I'm like, hey, but you got a good voice. And then the person tries and they bomb. And then I feel bad, like, oh yeah. So I'm not a good judge of that particular thing. But what I've also noticed is that it doesn't matter what your voice is like. Usually there's a need for a voice that sounds like whoever.
Right.
You know, so I think there's always opportunity for everyone. But if your voice is like super unique, super, where it's recognizable, like that's that weird voice, then I don't know how much work you can get, because it might be locked into a particular campaign and works for that, but I don't know if you can sustain a whole career with it. And in terms of, the other comment, I think, which might be linked to yours, is that there are a lot of people who do voiceover in a certain rhythm and a certain style because they think that's how it's meant to be. Whereas the trend for the past whatever years has been people wanting, a delivery that's pulled back, a delivery that's more conversational, more everyday like. And so if, I sometimes will get into a session, they'll say, but can you sound a bit more like yourself? I'm like, yeah, but this is how I do sound. This is myself. Because, but there are a lot of times when guys just want like a very, because it's about sincerity, isn't it? So, if you can sound sincere and have that in your arsenal of tools, then I think you'll be fine. But, different markets, different demands. Like I know in Zambia, we like that hard sell thing where it's almost shouty.
Are you looking for?
That's what he kept shouting. And it's exactly what I just said. Why are you yelling? Why are you shouting?
Dude, when I'm doing voiceover works, I've done voiceover works for banks. Exactly what he's saying. They'll tell you, they'll give it a tone they want in the advert. Like right at the top, they'll tell you it's a 1 minute advert, tone calm or cool or whatever. They'll give you a temperature that they want. So
I mean, you know how again, going back to the voice and how you sound, this is so diverse. There's a person, and this was so unique, who had a career spent for so long, and it was so different. The Celsi lady.
Yeah. You were saying that and she came to mind. She came, the Celsi
do you know what I'm talking about?
Whisper.
So she used to whisper.
She used to whisper.
Oh, I remember at the end of every advert.
Celsi. For yourself.
Right.
And
For
even
yourself,
even that, but the thing is like, once you lock into that delivery,
Right.
if that's what you're offering is, then it's very difficult for you once that campaign ends to look into the next opportunity.
Like the Savannah guy.
If that's your only
But then
delivery.
again, it shows how versatile you are, because
If you can jump from that to another.
no, not really, because if you're able to whisper, you're not using your voice. If that makes any sense, right?
You're whispering, you're not using your voice, but you're still sounding so unique in your whisper.
Precisely.
Yeah.
However, you are now able to use your vocals. You're now able to use the way you sound now, right? So you're now able to transcend. And if SuperSport needs you to sound the way that Elson sounds now, now you're not whispering. Now you are now beginning to sound the way you ordinarily would sound, because the whole whispering is not who you really are. You are having to put that on
a character.
You're putting on a character, if I can call it that.
Yeah. Sorry.
No.
No, I was just going to say there's some guys who are brilliant at doing characters. There's a guy called Rob Vega.
Rob Vega, he was at 5FM, wasn't he?
Yeah, I
Wasn't
think he was at 5FM.
yeah.
Now he's on Hot 919. I interviewed him, so he's on my podcast. You check it out if you can.
Right,
but
cool.
he does characters to the point whereby he can do Mandela, and he's like this big burly white guy. But he can do he can be on an ad as 5 different characters, and you won't know. He does Arnold Schwarzenegger to the point whereby the story that I heard, I think he clarified it in the thing, was he auditioned for Arnold Schwarzenegger. Somebody else got it. And he got so pissed that he locked himself for 2 days watching Arnie movies so that he can be the best Arnie impersonator. When Arnie came to South Africa, the radio station was like, yo, we got Arnold Schwarzenegger on the line.
And
it was Rob. He called the station. It was Rob. It wasn't Arnold.
There's something that I wanted to find out. Again, I've got so many questions, and
You guys need to do a part 2.
oh wait,
Yeah.
the other thing as well. So I went to uni in South Africa.
Yeah.
And I was so obsessed with 5FM. I would listen to 5FM, man, all day. And I then began to pick up that whoever does the voiceover for 5FM is also used by a bunch of radio stations. It's used by ZFM and Zim.
Yeah.
I think it's also used in Zambia.
It's possible because there are guys who do like.
Who is that guy? Do you know who I'm talking about?
I don't know the guy specifically, but I mean I know, like, for instance.
Let me see if I can find his.
Like Rob, Joe Cipriano, the guy I was telling you about, who's doing the coaching thing. He does, I think, 37 radio stations.
37?
37, yeah.
Oh, yeah, like the chick in Australia who does for many radio stations around the world.
Yeah. Because you have like a centralized imaging bank where you can just, like I do. I think I'm on 5.
Yeah, Flavor FM Kitwe. All our jingles were in your voice. But there's a guy I would love to hear in another advert. It's the guy who does the Savannah adverts, the ones with the dry jokes. Yeah, Savannah, a man walks into a bar and blah, 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 blah. Savannah, it's dry, but you can drink it.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear him in another advert apart from those.
Yeah.
Lusaka Radio Summit.
Yes.
Firstly, why did you found the Lusaka Radio Summit? What's it about?
It was purely from conversations with like radio can be better and how can we make it better. And so there was a conversation of bringing like-minded people from SA and Zambia together in one setting, chopping it up. And that was the beginning. 2009, we did 2010, 2011, and then just the zeal and the money thinned out. And so it came back as the Zanako Lusaka Radio Summit when Zanako sponsored it in 2018.
I was there for that one.
Yeah. Then 2019, 2020, it was also still sponsored by Zanako. Great people have come through for it from all over the place. I mean, even the local speakers were killing it. Chi spoke there, Kenny Tonga, Costa spoke there. Then we had from SA, Melanie Bala, Fat Joe, Maschawa Ndlovu.
Dumi Lopang from Botswana.
I hope he's paying his rent now.
Who?
Fat Joe.
Oh.
Yeah, I got kicked out. Couldn't afford his rent.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. But yeah, when he came through in 2018, he was a ball of energy. No, he came through in 2009 for the first one.
Yeah.
And he was a ball of energy.
South African
that guy's got
radio
so
as
much
well.
knowledge. You see, the thing with Joe is he's always reading. He's always just expanding his knowledge base. You're on a flight with him for 2 hours, he'll just be Time Magazine, whatnot. He's that guy. So I think he's an outlier in terms of his thinking that sometimes we don't see what he's all about. And yeah.
But this might sound like a ridiculous question. It comes at the back of, you've heard people say, Jennifer Lopez insured her legs. Do you insure your voice? Is there
Somebody
such a
asked
thing?
me that last week. It's probably there in the US, not in SA. Or not in Zambia.
Do you think there would be a market though if you're an insurance company?
I don't think so. I think when we were doing our policies, I think I asked that and the guy looked at me like, huh? Sure, wait, what are you talking about? I don't think there's a policy like that. And I think you probably answered it by saying I don't think there'd be a market for it.
Nah, there wouldn't be. And I would imagine how frustrated you are when you get a flu.
Yeah.
Your one asset.
Yeah. And the thing which helps with that kind of stuff is what I spoke about earlier, usage. Because there's some jobs I did like 3 years ago
that you're still getting paid for.
and I can still see, okay, these are already on incoming, you know what I mean? Because of the usage element.
Yeah.
So if I do get sick for a while, at least those usage checks
There's
will
plenty of adverts,
okay.
man. Like,
plus my investments here.
So
and there.
if you were to stop
yeah.
Namplunge
Yeah.
doing voiceovers,
Yeah.
how long do you think those residual checks that you've been doing would be able to sustain you and your family?
So the good thing is that those aren't the only things that are activated in terms of the long term. So I've got some policies and stuff, which might kick in, but also, and I probably have to watch what I'm saying, because some what? But we've got some like property investments where we've got tenants here and there. We've got other things that are going, which will kick in. So it's not like there's stress or there's pressure because
Property
of
in
those
SA?
things. In SA and here, yeah.
Okay.
you met your wife in radio. She's still in the industry.
No, she was in radio for 1 month.
1 month. That 1 month when you met.
That 1 month when we met.
Wow.
Then she moved on. But
She couldn't use the computer anymore?
no, now she uses the iPhone. No, she moved on to other things. Good, but what she's very gifted with is admin and detail. I'm a very headline person. She's a very detailed person. So like a lot of the things that we get up to, if you see any sense of organization threaded through them,
It's the wife.
Yeah, it's the wife.
You work with her?
Yeah.
She's the one that called me. You remember when we wanted to do this?
Yeah. So I
She's
think
the
you
one that
spoke.
called me.
Yeah. I think you spoke.
Oh,
with
right.
her.
Yeah, I did.
So
she's pretty detailed.
Yeah, she's very detailed to a fault.
I'll tell you a funny story.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think you guys have got raise that you give to people.
Yeah.
So you and I had spoken prior.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then she then called me.
Yeah.
So she goes on and then gives me a list of what I'm supposed to put. I'm like, well, that's not what Chilu said.
Oh,
It's like, oh, really? Oh,
oh man,
well, he didn't tell me all that.
So I didn't. Hey, no, cool. So I might be grilled after this interview. No, then maybe we just didn't touch base. But no, she's the owner organizer. So like, if you ask me what the rates are for like the studio and whatnot,
You've got no idea.
I don't know.
She knows all that.
She knows.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're gonna definitely need a part 2 because I just remembered how you and your wife met. TiVo is involved, and you lying to your mom when you went to see her in Zimbabwe.
Did I put all that in the book?
Yeah, that's what I saw in the book. He lied to his mom about going to check on how well his song was doing in Zimbabwe. He was actually just going to see his babe.
Wow.
Because she's Zimbabwean, right? Carol
she was in
Maduro's
Zim
way
at
or
the time.
something.
Oh, she's from Zim.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
why?
you're from Zim as well.
I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm as smart as she is.
Oh yeah. No, she's originally from Zim. Yeah. So yeah,
Which
they were
part?
staying in
Do you know?
Hatfield.
Hatfield.
Yeah, Hatfield,
Okay.
and then they've got
My grandma lived in Hatfield.
Oh, really?
Have you been there?
Yeah, nice area. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
20
I've been there,
Dells,
like
if you've
from the
ever known.
airport, and then you're coming down.
Yeah.
Their house is like I think on the main road there.
No, it's so funny. Speaking about Zim, I was watching literally this morning before I got here the last episode of the Grand Tour. James
that's with
May.
they're doing it in Zim. Isn't it?
Jeremy and them.
It felt like they were paid a ton load of money because every third word is about how amazing Zim is, and the one scene Jeremy May goes, I actually thought I was in Scotland.
That's juxtaposition from what's her name was Tiffany Haddish.
Tiffany.
Did you see that video?
I did say that. But apparently she says she was playing into the stereotype where Americans think that
there's nothing in
there's
Africa.
not. So her playing that caricature, if I can call it that, was her playing into the stereotypes like, they actually have apples. That type of thing is not really that she was shocked.
So it was taken out of context.
It was taken out of context.
Okay.
But they lit a fire under her ass because people didn't realize what she was trying to achieve.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I got lost on me as well. Yeah.
Does she go back to Zim often?
Not frequently. No, because her parents since moved to the UK.
Right.
So
like every other Zim.
I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah. So I don't even remember the last time. I think I was going to say I think I'd been to Zim more recently than
she.
But I think I'm wrong. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is there anything that? Sorry, do you have anything more?
I have got a lot more, man. You got kids?
Yeah.
We just said that in the intro.
Yeah.
That he's got 2 kids?
Yeah, we mentioned 2 daughters in the intro.
Oh, okay. Oh, both
The
daughters.
accolades. When we mentioned the accolades, we mentioned Fall
All
of
right,
2.
yeah. Ish, man. It feels like the intro has been 4 hours ago. Doesn't it feel like it was 4 hours ago?
What time is it now?
An hour and a half. We've done an hour and a half.
Hey,
You see, I
Mukuka.
was going to call you another.
Thanks for coming through, man.
Oh, I didn't even notice how you.
Do you want to join us? Anything you want to find out from our good friend here? Come through. Do we have a mic?
No,
do you want
that's what I
to
was
give
gonna
Mukuka a mic?
Yeah.
We've got a mic. We've got a
They're
mic right
giving
there.
you a mic.
I don't know.
So
Anything?
Mukuka is
Because about
Head
to
of
give me a
marketing.
brief.
head of marketing
He's
at
about- he's about to
MultiChoice
tell me
Zambia.
what
And he is saying in the background that Chilu actually does all the adverts. How beautiful.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think in terms of, I mean, not to reveal much, but in terms of if my earnings were a pie chart, it's very heavily
MultiChoice?
slanted.
At MultiChoice. Well, so it is safe to say.
right now I should be tucking in my shirt.
It is safe to say. I want to hear Mkuka's reaction to this. Please give the microphone to him. Yeah. Whether you react by a laugh or you actually saying something, it is safe to say 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5 people in this room are being paid by Mkuka right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Because Showmax is
Man,
him.
we should- the
Sorry,
interview we should do it
that mic is not on,
standing.
God. Oh, okay. Huh? No?
Selector.
Imagine.
Is it on there? It was on the last time we were speaking. How is it?
He never spoke. You're confusing it with the other
Oh,
episode.
yesterday. Try again.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good now. Yeah.
No, that was me talking.
No, we're good.
We're good?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, that's cool. I'm happy about that.
That you're paying all the people,
All the people in
here.
this room.
I'm really happy about
Including
that.
the-
Wait, so
value,
you
dude.
guys on the Showmax bag, that's
That's him.
That's him.
so now I was gonna say before you came on that I've actually been using the product. So I'm not saying
How'd you
that-
like it?
No, it's great.
Yeah.
So I at some point last year, this year I'm not watching Man U games, but I'm a Man
heartbreaking.
U guy. And I was watching almost the whole season on the phone.
Yeah.
With the Showmax package.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a package that works. What I found was there's I don't know whether to say there's a hack which allows you to watch it on your iPad. So that in terms of the bigger experience. So mostly it's on your phone, but on your iPad, then at least you can, watch
you can actually. Yeah. So phone or tablet.
iPad to the TV.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Or mirroring, right?
No, I think it
you can't
it
mirror.
blocks
You can mirror, yeah.
Oh, you can't mirror?
Yeah,
you can't
blocks
mirror.
mirroring.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
serious? So it's just strictly mobile app.
Strictly
mobile, no
mobile,
gadgets.
that's it.
Yeah. So I think iPad is the biggest experience.
All right.
I go ahead.
I think we should have Mukuka. Anyway, we're doing that thing with him, right?
Yes.
Because another question just popped up. But
Yeah, go ahead. Ask him.
Yeah.
While he's here.
What's up?
I want to find out, why is it strictly just on the mobile apps? Why is it load shedding that's preventing you from putting it on TVs? What's the rationale there?
No. It's because that's what customers use.
Yeah.
Everyone's on their phone. So
Yeah, but I mean, he
we are
wants to watch
meeting
it on
them.
a big
No,
screen.
but if you want
why
to watch it on the big screen, then you pay more.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you pay more for
Yeah,
that.
so
You got
then
DStv for that.
then you're getting the normal, what you
Yeah,
call
you
it?
got DStv for that, right?
Yeah,
The decoder.
Yeah,
exactly.
So why can I watch Showmax Premier League on a big screen?
Eventually.
Okay, cool.
But for now,
It's
the
coming.
pipeline is mobile
apps.
only. Exactly.
Mobile gadgets.
Exactly. Exactly.
And it works because the thing with football is a weird thing. Even when you're watching it on TV, everyone's small until they do a close up.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
So that's the thing. You can follow, like, for example, this morning, and maybe I'm revealing too much, but I watch Orlando Pride, which isn't on Showmax, but when Barbara Banda and her team are playing, or Kundananji, immediately they finish at 6 a.m. I'm watching the highlights.
Yeah.
And I always watch the highlights on the phone. So today they played, it was Orlando Pirates versus KC Current, and it was 0-0. I'm dating your interview, but Barbara didn't score. Because that's the reason
That's why we're watching, to see Barbara score. Exactly.
But it's always on the phone, and you can see everything.
I told this story on the episode which is coming up next with Trevor, and I also called him Kuka, and I told him about this a couple of weeks ago. I flew to Mauritius, right? So I'm chilling in my seat, minding my own business, watching a movie, and I hear screaming and commotion in the back of the plane.
That's not something you want to hear on a flight.
That's not what you want to hear on a flight. Right? So immediately, the black in me says, what the hell is going on? So I get up, I get in the passage, and then I go to the back, and I kid you not, there's 6 dudes. They've got an iPhone placed on one of the seats.
And they're watching...
Thanks to his product. And they're watching the soccer match.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, what the? You guys are really going to start screaming on a plane?
Yeah.
But that was incredible.
It's a thing, man.
It is.
And if you're like deep into football, because you don't want to miss it, like there are times when I'll have the same package, right? I'll put the phone into the auxiliary thing of my car.
Yeah.
So I'm listening to the commentary as I drive. So I'm driving,
yeah.
but the feed is not radio, it's not whatever. It's the live commentary.
Same.
Oh, you do the same thing too?
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
And I just come in at the end to remind you, it's www.showmax.com. Pick a plan, pay for the plan, watch
$90.
the Premier League on your mobile device.
I gave you homework. I gave you homework. Did you come? So the homework I gave him is he needs to tell me 10 things that costs 90 kwacha
and can last a month.
That's dope. Yeah.
Have you come up with something?
If it's bread, that's only 3 loaves now. 90 kwacha, 3 loaves.
So that's to your homework.
Depends whose hand it's in, Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
You giving it out like. Nah, Kuka, thanks a lot, brother.
Thanks a lot, man.
I dismiss you as well.
Is there one question that you were anticipating we're going to ask, but we haven't touched on?
No. I think it's been great. I appreciate it. We're putting out some new music. That's the only other thing.
Who's we?
Me. I put up music usually as me, but now I'm putting out music as Sharpshooter Collective.
Huh?
Sharpshooter Collective.
We definitely need a part 2. I've just remembered so much about your musical history from the book.
Oh, I didn't know you sing.
Hey,
really?
There's a whole album.
Yeah, there's
Albums.
Okay, we do need a part 2. How long are you around for?
Let's follow him to Joburg. For
How long are you around for?
A day.
A day. It still answers the question, because now when we know when he's in Joburg, we can still follow him to Joburg.
Yeah, I'm just saying, let's do part from Joburg.
Yeah, no, but if when the music comes out,
But I think your biggest hit ever has been in Jota.
Yeah, and Jota is.
That song we played that song in the club like crazy, man.
Is the pool in your office working now?
Yeah. Even
was
it down when you came?
No, it wasn't.
Oh. Yeah, no, there's a pool. I haven't been in it for like 20 years, but it's there. It's there.
The black man in him.
Nah, my man. Thanks a lot for this.
For coming
No,
through.
thank you very much, gents.
This has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed
You're
it.
a wealth of information.
Thank you. Make
So
me
the
feel
man
like I should
formerly
do
known as
another book.
Chilungu.
You say what now?
I'm saying you make me feel like I should do another book.
You should.
You should, because the book leaves it hanging. You just get on a plane to South Africa and you don't quite describe how you then become one of the world's biggest voices. You know what I mean?
Oh man, that's a lot of work.
Is there an audiobook?
There is an audiobook. Yeah.
Is there?
In his own voice.
Yeah. It's
Is it available on? Okay, hold on.
Audible.
What's it called?
It's called Finding My Voice. It's about 7 hours long, but I think you'd enjoy it.
Wait, hold on. Before we actually leave here,
When doing the audiobook, do you actually read the book itself? Or
Yeah.
is it scripted differently?
I read it. It was like such a difficult project. I think probably the most difficult.
it's called Finding My Voice.
Yes, but you have to put my name because I think the couple of Finding My Voice.
So just Chilu or Chilu Lemba?
Chilu Lemba.
Okay,
not
so
Chilungu.
Okay, hold on. So
Formerly known as.
So because what I'm doing right now, I'm pretty sure anybody who, I am.
Yeah.
So the audio book app that comes with the iPhone is where I am now.
Oh yeah. I think it's also there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. So let me just type in your name, because Finding My Voice, you're not popping up.
Yeah. Because the couple of Finding My Voices that preceded.
I just want to make sure that if I can find it, everybody else can.
It is it.
Oh, there we go.
Right at the top.
For $10.
Yeah, but if you get the Audible subscription, I think the first book is free.
Just want to listen to the preview here. I want to listen.
Are you serious?
I want to listen to how it sounds.
man.
Hold on.
27th August 1975.
Big news story across Africa on a particular Wednesday in the mid-1970s was the death of Ethiopia's deposed leader, Emperor Haile Selassie. The news reverberated as far afield as Jamaica, where Rastafarians had viewed him as the Messiah. But otherwise, the global news cycle before the advent of 24-hour news channels was pretty quiet.
This is amazing. So how long?
I was reading. It was pretty quiet on a sunny day in Zambia in 1975. And then, so I'm linking that to me being born.
Right.
Yeah.
I like how you describe everything that happened that year, and especially the week you were born in.
Finding My Voice. Yeah. You know what it is, and I know we're wrapping up, but there's a book that's just been put out. Timelines are key. When you're writing a book, there's three processes. There's a developmental editor who helps you out. Then there's I think a copy editor, then a line editor. And a lot of people who self-publish are bypassing those processes. And in doing so, you find inaccuracies in their books. So like there's right now a book, a local book, which is popping. And I'm
popping.
I'm reading it. I'm like, okay, but that timeline is off. Because probably they did not involve
the editors.
Yeah, or something went amiss somewhere, because the things being described didn't happen during the times that the author is saying they happened.
I love the detail in your book. Also, you should listen to that thing. Even when your dad dies, I like how you link his name to the season as well that he dies in. Because his name was Winter Lemba, and he dies in the winter of 19 what?
I think it was
97.
I think.
Yeah, 97.
97 or 98. Yeah, 97.
It was a very colorful book. But anyway,
We need a part 2. Absolutely.
we need a part 2 definitely, which will be done in
Appreciate
Joburg.
it.
Remember to support the company that supports us, the companies that support us, Showmax,
Brothers.
BigTree Beverages, Brothers, and support us as well by clicking on that subscribe button. You see, the bigger the number grows on our channel, the bigger the guests we can have. A god.
And the kind of conversations
Was
we
with
can
us
have
today.
with Mkuka.
Exactly.
Right? Because he would not entertain us if we were like that other podcast with 2 views.
Yeah.
You know yourself.
Till the next episode, have a lovely day.
Dun 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 dun